Everyone. I'm Joyce Trowbridge with Soft Flex Company, and I have Danielle Wickes with us.
Hi.
To share with some awesome projects with brick stitch around the beadwork findings. Tell me.
Tell you about
Share
it.
with us.
Yes. Exotic blooms kit, and I just wanted to do something that I love doing. I really just love taking new and different beads and new color combinations, and just doing a classic brick stitch design around a component. And I really like to drop little elements, and so I grabbed some from the little bead mix, and just the little tassels stood out to me as a cool way to make a little embellishment. And so there's a lot of different ways, that you can do versions like this that can use almost any beads you have. So that's why I thought, hey, this will be fun and relaxing to just create a nice, colorful, bright, and
super colorful,
super personalizable, and really fun to wear. They're really cute, and they're striking on because of the colors. So, yeah.
And they don't seem too heavy they got like a nice big pop for an earring without being too heavy.
Exactly. They're actually really incredibly light, especially the findings don't weigh a lot. They're very thin findings.
Yeah.
And so that's why
what I found about
them. I went with the row of Delicas as my base row, and in both of these versions, because it is the right width for the finding. So it was just kind of perfect.
Oh, that's perfect.
But then after that, you can just start putting any beads you want on there. I mean, literally anything. I just went from rondelles to 4mm to all of it.
Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Look at all these wonderful people joining us. Thank you for accommodating our earlier time today. As you know, Sarah is unable to make it for her usual 3 o'clock. And so we're here 2 p.m. on Pacific time. That makes it 5 p.m. Eastern time. Got to do the math. So hi, Melissa. Hi, Tanya, Gail, and Elaine, and all sorts of people popping on. Thank you for joining us a little bit earlier than usual. We got Damien helping us in the background today. So say hi to him too. And I have just a few things for Soft Flex just to point out with we have our little Ayler Families Hospice Relief Bundle. If you go onto softflexcompany.com, you can find that, and all of the proceeds will go to her GoFundMe. If those are all gone, you can always directly donate there also. There's a link on that page for that, and you can read all about their journey and what they're going through another link that's in that on that page. Don't forget to pick up crimps and components while you're there. They're 20% off right now, which is very helpful. And we have some new boho flower beads in 6 new colors. Really pretty, vibrant color. You can't see them this way, but I'm going to show them off on Friday with my project on Friday, Spill the Beads, at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. So you can pick up, there's also the new colors or the bundle for a little bit off. The bundle is 11 colors, so it's 7 of our previous colors and our 6 new colors. No, wait, that's not right. 5 of our previous colors and 6 of our new colors. And we're gonna get going because I want to see how you make those brick stitch earrings. They are so fabulous, so fun. I think I still have some of those beads and that finding left over from my kit. So I think I'm going to pull those out this weekend and rewatch this, but I'm going to just enjoy what you're making today. So let's go and get your mat on. And welcome, Danielle. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I was just thinking those flowers you were showing, wouldn't they be cool as one of the tops of one of these earrings?
Oh my goodness, they totally would. Oh, I love that idea. In fact, I think one of the colors that I have right here is perfect for my leftover exotic bloom beads that I have.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that would be so neat. Yeah, and so should I just dive in and show how to
Dive in. Let's dive in. Let's get beading. I
all
think we
right.
all
So
need some beading
we all
so
need
bad
some beads in our
right
life.
now.
Absolutely. And so they are both very similarly made. So I'll demo the bright one because it's nice and easy to see. That's the bright colors. But I just wanted to also share that you could use the other finding if you would like to. And the other finding has a loop at the top. So in this case, I just brick stitched around and then started my brick stitch back the other way. And this here at the bottom is just I added the beads and went through a jump ring. So this one is a really simple version. This one has a little bit of extra special going on because it does not have, let me show you the finding by itself. It doesn't have a loop at the top built in. So I had to kind of make one, and I did that using the bead. And that was a really fun way to make that work out. So that I'll show how to do that one. That one's probably something that's a little more unusual. And then here at the bottom, it's a really simple attachment directly to the top of the tassel.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, yeah. It's great that you can just use some of those beads to make your own loop when a finding doesn't have one.
Yes, exactly. And so the first row of it, I'll show starting it, but I have one I can do a jump ahead, so we don't have to watch me brick stitch all the way around. But I did do it with Delicas for the first row. And like I was saying, it was a really nice fit. It really also it really lined up perfectly. So this one's right at the stage where you join, so I want to be able to show that. And so I'll show starting it on this one, and just any color of Delicas will work great. So you can just use anything you've got. And then you guys have these also in your shop. And then as far as the next beads after that, I have these ready to go. These are from the Exotic Blooms kit, and as were these from the bead mix. And so these are the little seed beads that were in there, and the rounds were really cute. I integrated them as the second row with the little 4mm. Try to get that to focus again. There we go. Yeah, so that's what I did there. I'm going to slide all this over because I think it is changing the focus, just a little bit. If it's got something else that's lower, it goes.
Can't decide what to focus on. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Do you like this background better, or do you think that's better?
I like the first one. I think it showed off the
paper there. It's always kind of different every day depending on what time of day and my light changes on me.
Oh yes, gotta have options.
Yeah, exactly. And so there, you guys have the thread that matches all of the either gold or silver. So whatever you're using, you can just pick gold or silver. On the original, I did some gold to make it kind of match there.
Oh yeah, that looks good.
I have a silver finding here, so I'm going to just switch to silver. Unless you think gold's easier to see. What do you think? Is it?
The gold might be easier to see.
Right. Let's just do gold on silver. We can do a mixed metals look with it. It'll be cute.
Yes, I always like mixed metal, and it kind of goes with the exotic bloom colors too.
It does, for sure. It does. So you just want to cut a wingspan or a little less than a wingspan. It doesn't need a lot, but I would say like a little under 60 inches or so should be just fine. And that should be plenty to finish the design. And I'm just going to grab a needle really quick. Let's see, grab one of these. I'm just using a size 11 beading needle. You could use anything, a 12, a 10 would work. All of those will work. And just folding over a little bit here. So I've got that ready. My mat is just up here off to the side. It causes the focus to be really fuzzy, so I always kind of push that up there, but that's where all my beads are hiding. Okay. And so I'm taking the other end. So this is the end I did not put the needle on. This is the other end of the thread. And I'm just going to tie a double knot onto the component with about a 7-inch tail. So just bringing that through. And the tail doesn't have to be exact, just enough that you can pull it through and maybe weave it in through a few beads at the end. So there's the first half of my double knot. And the second half of my double knot there. And I'm going to pull it so it sits up against the top. And if there's a part of the component that you feel like is a good front or back, you can slide it to be there and tie it in that location. But I'm just bringing it right up to where it meets one of these they're segmented here. They have these little edges, which is kind of handy because it'll keep it in that spot after we start stitching. I tied my knot just to the left of it, and I'm going to work to the right clockwise. So it's going to keep my bead right there at the top. It's kind of handy. All right, and so I have a way I like to start brick stitch that's helps me deal with the tail earlier rather than wait until the end, and it hides my knot. I just bring on one bead to start and just slide that down. And as it's coming down to meet the finding, I'll bring the tail through it. So there's the bead there. And I'm just going to take the tail and feed it up through the bead. If you want to put a needle on, you can, but usually I can kind of just get it to work. Just going through one bead is pretty easy. There we go. And then if you pull your working and tail thread apart like that, it'll settle the bead right over the knot. And then I just re-nestled it. Yeah, super easy way to start your brick stitch, right? And now we don't have to worry about finding, it's hard at the end when it's all stitched up to get the tail. You have to put a needle on it and try to kind of work it and wiggle it to get inside of the bead when you need to weave in at the end. This is so much easier, so that's why I like to do it that way.
So much easier. Love that tip.
Thanks. So now I've got another bead on, just one, and sliding that one down. And then what I'm going to do is on the component here, get sure it stays in focus there. I'm going to go through, on the star one, it has a little space. And so I'm just going to go through, and again, I'm working to the right of that little notch. So if you're working with the same finding as me, this is just an extra little tip that is specific to that finding. But if you're working with a circle, just start stitching around. And there's our first two beads nestled right there.
Nice.
So I'm just going to keep going, and then I have one I can jump ahead on to show you. So let's do a few of these stitches together.
Oh, yes.
Because this part is the same thing over and over, where we just pick up a bead, go through the component, and then you come up from underneath the bead, tighten it down, and each subsequent bead will just sit right next to the former. And usually what I do when I get to one of the junctions on this finding where it's got these the little notches, you just jump over it and keep stitching.
Okay. Ignore it. Pretend it's not there.
We can stitch to one really quick so I can show you.
Oh, yes.
If you think that would help.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, yes. It's always great to see a visual of it.
Yeah.
Because even though it makes sense while you're saying it, sometimes when you get there, it's like, wait, what was it? What do I do?
Exactly. Yeah. It's, it makes sense in your mind, but then you got to get the hands to agree.
Yeah.
I have so many designs. That's how they go with me. They're in my mind. They're so amazing. And then I try them and I'm like, uh-oh. Doesn't look it. There's the expectations.
Not as coordinated. Yeah. Or I'm not as coordinated as I thought.
Right. There we go. Almost there. It's pretty quick. Once you get your flow going, you're just like, hey, I got this.
That's what I love about brick stitch.
Me too. And so this will probably be the last bead I can get on before I jump over to the other side of that little, connection. But you see how it actually kind of works out really nice count-wise. So it's gotten right to there.
Oh, that was nice and quick. Look how nice. The gold is just slightly there. So that's nice. It has a good little accent.
It gives it a glow. I think it's really pretty.
Don't be afraid to use it, people.
Yeah, don't be afraid to mix those colors with the mixed metals. That's a good idea. So there's the next one. See how it just kind of, and it might do
Oh,
that
yeah.
on you, how it's kind of maybe nudged a little. It looks like it's a little tipping that way. The
Mm-hmm.
next one will fix that. So just put on the next
Okay.
bead. So just keep going and don't worry about it if it does that at first. Because that next bead just flattens it right
Oh,
out.
yeah. Just perfect.
And so you can see
They
it's
play well together.
yeah. So it just, you want to keep going like that all the way around until you're about to meet where you started. And so I'm just going to move this one over here so I don't get a tangle. It's just super likely, right?
Oh, yeah. Don't make.
Oops. Okay, there we go. Tangle avoiding. And I have a needle on this other one already. And so it is basically the same thing we've been doing. We were just keeping up that stitching. So here's where, let me just recap where we are. There's where we
I
started.
noticed there's a little bit of a gap. Are you going to fill that gap, or is that gap needed? Do you need
Yeah, I
a
just
little
wanted to
bit?
show that part. When you get
Okay.
to this part, because sometimes what happens with brick stitch, you maybe you have a gap that's a little too wide for one bead, but not quite wide enough for two beads, or maybe it's not even wide enough for one bead and you're feeling like it's kind of stuck. I wanted to share that you can make more room or you can make less room. See how we can
Oh,
a little and we can make it be very forgiving.
brilliant.
So if I was having an issue here with, I feel like this is going to be perfect for one bead, maybe even a little bit wide for one bead, but there we go. That's going to be perfect. So don't be afraid of it if it's not exactly what you need it to be for one bead or two beads. Just keep kind of finessing it until it works for you. And even after we get the bead on, we can do that. So I've got one bead to go here. I'm just going to go again through the component here. And then up through the bead. I'm just going to slide that down.
Yes, Kim, we are using Delicas around that component.
Yeah, I'm using an 11-0 Delica. Just because it is such a nice sharp fit. And it is also very complementary to the width of this particular component. You see how it's just so, it's in plane with it, which made it really nice for how it sits. And it made it easier for me to do my brick stitching.
Perfect.
That said, other beads will work. And so there's our last bead on, and that one worked really well, but I like to join them. So you see how there's our first bead here where the tail's coming out. So I go back through, first I get the tail and I just kind of, I pinch it flat against the back of the component like that, just to get it out of the way. Because it will definitely try to tangle up with what you're trying to do next. And then just go through that first bead. So I've got my needle here. And I'm going through what was the very first bead that we added when we first started. Go back down through that. Then go through the component. And come back up to that same bead. It'll be the one your tail is exiting. So now I'm going to free my tail so I can see it. Come right up to that bead. And there you go. And again, you get the opportunity to kind of tighten things up by pulling that working and tail thread apart. And it is a perfect fit. Just right on there.
Little magic trick. Love it.
And so now we have a base to work, and we can go around and around with as many layers of brick stitch essentially as you'd like. But I got a bunch of these going because I just thought they were super cute the way that they look. So I'm going to just clean up my Delicas really quick so I don't mix them up. Got my scooper. Yeah. These things are little treasures to me, so I keep them.
Yes.
Okay, and so I'm going to get these beads out. So I did my second row with these 11-0s. Are these check 11-0? They were in the Exotic Blooms kit.
Yes, they are.
They look like a check
They
11.
are. They're check 11s that Mike picked up way back. And so we had some left over and thought they would be cute for this kit.
Yeah. So those are really nice. If you don't have them, you can just keep using the Delicas. That'll work too. And then any 4mm bead. This was again one from Exotic Blooms, but is this shell?
Yes,
Shell bead.
they're dyed shell. Mm-hmm.
It's really pretty. But anything is going to work for you here. You can use anything, and I mean literally anything. This is the rondelles that were in that same kit. And there you can see I used the Delicas because I didn't have an 11.0 equivalent.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So really the sky's the limit here. Just go for what you like. And I did 2 different versions of brick stitch between the two. I'll talk about that other one in a minute. But for this one, I did something that starts with 3 beads because I wanted the thread not to show over the round bead. So on the side of it, you just see the beads.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But on this one, you can see the thread jumping from bead to bead. So they're different. It's a different version of stitching. But this one, let me show this one first really quick.
Yeah.
And,
I like both options because sometimes that thread showing just gives a little bit of a detail that gives dimension depending on the beads that you use.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes you need the bead to be flat because like a bead like this, it wouldn't do well, but a round bead doesn't look as good this way, right? Better this way. But a flat rondelle like that, much better flat against the component. So you're able to do either, and they both work. But so if you're loving this one, where the thread's mostly hidden, you want to pick up 3 beads to start. And then what I did on this one for the very first one is I skipped. You can just count over 3 beads and use the next thread bridge after that. So from the one you're exiting. So we'll just count 1, 2, 3, and we'll go through its next thread bridge, which is that one right there. And if you try this and you're like, hey, I don't like how that looks, you just take it out and readjust and see what fits better. And then just pull it down like that and come up through just that last bead that we picked up. So just the last one. Tighten that up. And there you go.
Oh, nice.
And then what you'll want to do next is actually go right to the 4mm bead. So you want to get a 4mm and then another 11.0. And this time skip 2. And it should pop right into place like that for you. Come up just through that last bead. And that's all there is to it. And what I did is I just kind of tried not to repeat any colors that I used from before. Oh, thanks, Stacy. That's an awesome compliment.
I know.
This is fun because it goes really quick when you're skipping to add the larger beads, so you actually get done faster.
That is nice because those little Delicas makes you feel like it's sometimes takes forever.
Exactly. Yeah, that the Delica part, that's why I did the jump ahead because that is the longest part of this design. And I mean, you could skip adding the Delicas, but I feel like they stabilize it a lot.
We're using the Miyuki red, correct?
Yeah, we are. We're using the, let me grab it really quick. It is Miyuki beading thread.
There you go.
And you have gold and silver.
Yes, we do.
So whichever component you want to match, or you don't have to match it. You can always have it be, like we were doing at the start, where you can put the gold on the silver and stuff like that. It looks really nice. And so what I did is on the sample, and when you're first working it, you just kind of wing it. And then on the second one, look at your first one and try to match the counts at least, but it's really not not something people are going to notice as much as you think. You know what I mean? I've had almost matching brick stitch earrings. Nobody noticed the difference between them because it's kind of hard to get them
Yeah,
all.
only you know.
Only you notice this, but I'll just count for myself. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to try to fit 7 before I do the tassel. So I've got 5. And I think I'm going to go back to the pink color now. I just tried not to repeat a color that I've already used. And that was really the only patterning that I did. And so I've gone through all of them now. So I'm going back to pink. Here's 6. And let's just get number 7 going. And there we go. Okay, so 1/2 done already. And now all I need to do is add this cute little tassel. And so what I did for that was I just came out of the last bead we stitched, which is showing right there. And then I stitched a seed bead, went through the tassel, another seed bead, and an additional seed bead, and used that as the next brick stitch. So this is just going to be a little different than what we've been doing. Let's see, the tassel's already there. So here's 1 seed bead. And I'm going to go through the tassel. And then I'm going to pick up 2 more seed beads. So
Why is it 2?
Why 2? Because when we get to the other side here, see how we've got one here that we're exiting out of, which is that little bead right there, the one that's after my orange 4mm bead there.
Ah, yes. Okay.
And so we strung one, we went through the tassel, and now we've got the other one for the other side, and then the one that's going to be brick stitched through.
That's
and we'll skip over the next thread bridge and go and put the next seed bead there and come just through that seed bead when we turn around after the thread bridge, and it'll create that for you. But it's a little counterintuitive when you're stringing it for sure, because you're like, and I've pulled it apart before, having not done that, realizing, oh yeah, I needed that bead there.
Yes,
I do that all the time, actually. It just doesn't make a lot of sense initially. But so there's our strung ones. When you can kind of see the symmetry happening there, where we've got 2 and 2.
Oh bit. Yeah, now you can see it kind of there.
And I'm actually going to try the next thread bridge. Just taking a look at my center, I feel like I want to go through you can either skip one or go through the next one, and just go with what works for you, centering it as best you can. And so here's what I've got so far. And I do think that looks really good. So I'm going to stick with that. And when the tassel pulls the beads down a little bit, they'll round out a little more. So we went under the thread bridge. I actually went under the next one in this case. And now I'm just going to go up through just the last bead.
Okay.
So just that one right there. And I'm just going to pull that tight. Oops. Sometimes when I go too fast with pulling the thread through, I will get little tangles. So let me fix that really quick. There we go. I always try to tell folks that if you're starting to feel that tangle, just go ahead and stop. Don't keep pulling. And so at this spot right here, if you would like to reinforce, this is an incredibly light tassel, so it's optional. But if this was something heavier, like for example, if you were putting on like a gemstone or something, what you'd want to do is go back through. Let's see, we're doing okay on time. I could show reinforcing if you want. Yeah.
Yes, so that'd be great.
You would go back through the bead here, and I'm just doing this to keep the tassel centered, because it is the loop on this is bigger than the seed bead, so it might move around a little on me. And then I'm going to go through the tassel. Right there. Okay. And then back through these 2 beads on this side. So that's those 2 right there. It's a little hard to see. Sorry. There we go. Those 2.
Good.
And we're going to grab that thread bridge again. the one that's right underneath it. And it can be tricky to see it, but sometimes what I do is I just kind of push the thread like that and just go through in between the two beads themselves. It'll help you capture it a little bit. Real tight. Turn. I'm going to come back up through all of that. So I got through the two beads. And I'm going to go through the tassel and get through the next bead while I'm at that. There we go. All right, so back to this side. I've got one bead left to go through, which is that one right there. Get that focus going. There we go. If I go really out of focus, just give me a shout.
It's going back to it goes back, so we haven't lost you yet.
I think StreamYard might have changed something on us. I don't know. I noticed it yesterday too.
Okay, now that I say that, it's blurry.
There we go.
There you go.
All right, and so I went under the thread bridge again, and this is the same thing we did before. It's just a repeat, and I'm going to go ahead and go through just that one bead. So just this first one here, or in the case of how we strung it, the last one we added. So that one right there. And so that's all we got to do to add a little element to the bottom. And that was a reinforcing, which you can skip if you're using the same thing I'm using, the little tassel. It's not, it's so light. It just like kind of disappears on there. So from here, you'll want to pick up another 4mm bead and another 11/0. And then just go under the thread bridge that's 2 over. And then just come up through the bead. And it should pop right into place just like that for you.
Lovely.
So I'm just going to speed to the end really quick so I can show attaching the top.
Oh, that'd be good. Actually, can you, you mentioned earlier, like if you didn't like what you put on there, what is your tip on taking it out? Because I know intuitively most of us want to thread through it, but then we make a tangled mess. And how do you avoid that?
First thing to do is take that needle off.
Yeah.
And working with the eye side of my needle, I'll go over to the bead, the one that's attached. And actually just put your eye side of the needle under and through the bead. Like that.
Oh, okay.
And just give yourself a little bit of air and then grab the thread, pull it through. And now that's free.
You make it look easy. Thank you.
And this will help you also not snag your thread too, because sometimes when you're pulling the beads off, they definitely want to snag on you like that. And that just weakens your thread and maybe potentially shortens the life of that piece. But you know, usually that method works for me, especially making sure I use the eye of the needle when I do that picking initially.
That's a great tip. I figured there's some of us, some of our Softflex viewers are not as familiar with beadwork because, you know, so it's nice to, since beadwork is components and thread is new to us, I thought,
oh yeah,
let's get the expert to tell us.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see that, because when you're first starting out with brick stitch, your placement you develop an eye over time for the placement, because it's not always exactly the same thread bridge skipping that you had from the previous ad. There's subtle shifts and variation, and you know, as it's going along, depending on how many beads you got going around. And so sometimes I find that what worked for me 2 beads ago doesn't work, and I maybe take it out and go in under a different thread bridge. And that's really common with brick stitch designs. This one, not so much. I'm pretty consistently able to just skip 2 and that's working. But that said, I still not at the end yet, so we'll see. No. So I'm skipping 2, going through the 3rd.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for
Hi,
hopping
Sarah.
on and saying hello to us. Of course, I'm
Thinking
happy
of,
to help out. We're all thinking of you.
yeah, I'm thinking of you every day. I'm sending you hugs. Oh, I miss her.
I know, me too.
You too, right?
Mhm.
So I'm just keeping going here. I'm just going underneath the next, I'm skipping two. So far, so good. It's been 2 thread bridges every time, just like with the first side. So that will probably, if you're using the same beads as I am, that'll probably work out for you. Yeah, Sandy, you can do it. That was I was just talking with Neela yesterday about this. It's one of my dreams is to make everyone think seed beading is easy. It's one of my goals.
I'm with you. I'm on that. I'm on the same bandwagon. We can go conquer the world together. Get everybody on CBs.
Exactly, because we need everyone to be with us on that. The more
Join.
people join us, it's awesome. It's not an addiction, I swear. All right, I'm
That's a
almost
slight
at the end
addiction.
here. And then we get to put on the findings. So I'm just going to show the counts. If it's important to you for symmetry to have it be 7, 7, then let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to put one more bead on. I can probably get one more bead in there. And you know what I did on this one was I was able to get it right up next to it. And then I used the center as the way to go through. That might work out. And if it doesn't, you can always just add extra beads to center it. Just brick stitch an extra 11-0 if you need to, but I feel like this is still going to work out in the same way. But what I might do actually is one more time, I might go back one thread bridge just to create a little extra space. Even though that stitch worked for me really nicely, I feel like I need a little more room for the next one. So let me show you what that looks like and how forgiving it is. It's very forgiving. So instead of skipping 2 thread bridges, I'm going to skip 1 to give myself a little extra room.
Kim, I agree. My eyes need help sometimes too.
A lot of folks work with a magnifier, especially for like the little threading the needle part that I'm doing right now. And I think I'm working with a size 12 needle by accident. I thought this was an 11, but as I look at it, I think this is a 12. A lot of my needles are mixed up. Sometimes I just go with whatever is stuck in the mat too.
Yeah.
I know that's super lazy.
I was like, I don't know what I'm using. It's whatever's here.
Yeah. Well, I used to put them back in the container, and now I don't even do that anymore. There we go. So I only skipped 1 thread bridge there, and you don't even notice. See, it's not cool. But now I've got all that little
is cool.
Space, and I need that space for this last little part right here. And so let me grab one of these beads and an 11-0. So let's take a quick look at it. Yeah, okay. So for the last one, I'm going to add a bead, okay? And then I'm going to go through the one that's already there. So you see how we have one right here and our tail's coming out? Actually, our tail's not going through it yet. Maybe I'll feed the tail through it. This is optional, but again, it'll make it easier for me later. So I'm just going to do that really quick if I can. Just got that tail through it. Okay. So I'm going to share, normally we would pick up a bead and another 11-0, but now I'm just picking up the bead. And I'm going to go through the 11-0 that's there. Yeah, but you could, if you wanted to add another 11-0, you could, and it would be just fine. You just have 2 in the center. I'm just trying to match what I did before. But it's forgiving. You could really get away with doing anything you want. So I've gone through that bead. I'm going to go under the thread bridge that's below it. Just gently pull that through so I don't get a tangle. All right. And then in this case, you want to just come up through that same bead again. And this is just a creative way to create a way we can go to our ear wire. So we've got our tail thread and our new working, or our current working thread exiting from that same bead we started, and we were able to get that last bead to just join right to it. It doesn't always work out like that, but this was just kind of a magical one, to be totally honest. That really worked for me. I don't know. And it was repeatable, so I feel like the seed bead universe is being kind today. So yeah,
You're gonna go for it and accelerate.
Yeah, always accept those wins, right? So now I'm just going to copy what I did before, which also this is total style. You can just do anything you want. But I put on 2 more 11-0, and then I went through this really beautiful bead that was in the kit. And then I just put on 4 back through the bead and back down. And I did go through the thread bridge reinforce at one time. So let me show you that really quick. I've got the bead ready. So those 2 there. I'm going to slide that down. And I'm going to bring that to meet everything here. And here's where I need that ear wire. I was just putting that out here for use later. And you could always put the ear wire on at the end. I do believe I have mine handy though. At least I thought I did. Oh, I do. It was hiding under my seed bead strand. So optional if you want to do the this now or add it after you've created everything, that's totally fine too. I'm going to go ahead and close it. There we go. Okay, so ear wire just ready to go there. Two seed beads. And I'm just going to string this on. And let's get 2 more. Okay. And then just head down through the bead. And if you can, in one swoop, go ahead and try to get through the 2 we added below it. So all of those beads there. And while that's pulling through, I'm just going to hold the ear wire up here. All right. And so there's the attachment. It's pretty much completely finished. All we need to do now is reinforce it if desired or weave in. And this little tail that's hanging out here, I'm not going to do this yet because I want to get through it one more time, but you can tie a knot to it as a way to secure your work. Because we're in the same place now. We're basically just met it here. It's coming out of the top of the bead that's on the stitching. And we've just headed down in the other direction toward it. So see, they're just both in the same spot, which is really handy. So what I'm going to do now is just...
That makes it so simple.
Yeah, and I mean, you could even, if you wanted to, tie a knot right now, but I like to make it a little extra stronger by going through it one more time. So I'm going to go down through this bead that's right here in the work. To brick stitch around a cab? Yeah, actually, I have a class that I did a long time ago with one that, one that doesn't have holes, right?
Yeah, I think that's what she means. Is that available on DanielleWickesJewelry.com or where do we find your old videos?
Yeah, it's on the John Bead blog. It's a it's from a few years ago. It might be a little tricky to find it, but I think if you type in bezel set cabochon on the John Bead blog, which is blog.johnbead.com, it should come up, and there's a video and a PDF.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure there's going to be great tips in there, Robin, that you can make yours work.
Yeah, it was a fun one, and I didn't know at the time that I guess with the way I do it's kind of unusual, because I was talking to another seed beater, and she was saying that she did it a completely different way and used a completely different stitch even. So mine might be kind of weird, but it works. And there's a
You
lot
know,
of,
that's the beauty of it, that there really isn't any one way. There's similar ways, but we can, you know, being able to share it with each other, we can come up with new ways to conquer those problems that we've had, that we've come up with. You know,
yeah,
those little things
exactly.
that get stuck.
And I don't remember why it came to me to do it the way that I did, but I think I thought that I was doing it the way everyone did at the time because it just made sense. But like how
Hmm.
to guess your measurements, because you know how when you start a peyote
Hmm.
stitch, you string the beads and maybe you measure those beads around. But then when you go
Hmm.
and you complete the next step, which is to do the peyote stitch row, it will shorten that distance, whatever distance you just
Oh
string.
yeah.
So to be able to predict that and make it just a little bigger, knowing it's gonna, that didn't make sense to me. So I started out doing a single column peyote stitch row by just doing
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
T shape all the way and then testing it every few
Hmm.
ads until I got a width that worked for me, and that's how I did it.
Yeah. And that makes sense because it gives you an exact measurement as you go. So I see how you chose to do it that way.
Yeah, yeah, that was a fun one. Thanks for asking that question.
Mhm.
So I went through all these beads again, and now I'm back where I was before I went down and made my turn. And just in case anyone missed it, the way I made my turn was I went down through the bead that's here above the Delicas, picked up the thread bridge above the Delicas, and went back up through everything. So now I'm right back where the tail is, and I'm going to do that knot now, and I will do a double knot. And then you'll just want to bring the working thread and then the tail after that through a couple beads and trim it, and that's all you got to do. I still have my needle on the working side, so let's do that first. And another thing I suggest is remember the tail was headed that way, and then our
Yes.
our
Hmm.
working thread was headed this way. I'm going to
Yes.
continue the path and just bring that down. So this is the working side. I'm just going
Hmm.
to bring it back down through the bead below. And pull that through. And then I'm going to thread my needle onto the tail. Hopefully it won't take me too long to do that.
Hmm.
There we go. And then just bring that right up through. I'm going to go through the two beads above here, maybe even all of them. There we go. Oh, I made it through all of those beads actually. Okay.
Magic.
I didn't mean to go through all of them like that, but it's okay. It works.
It happens.
And then if you have a burner, go for the burner. If you don't, just push down, pull up with your scissors. So in this case, I don't have my burner. So let's just do something else I've seen people do. If you're ever stuck without a tail to knot to, is you
Okay.
can, in a place where you've got a circle like this, you can tie a knot on one side and then come over and tie a knot underneath. And that'll just make those pop into a bigger circle. Because right now they're kind of a square. But if you bring them together with a
Hmm.
knot, and then it's a great way to get a knot hidden too.
Oh,
So
that'd be
there's
great.
like so many ways you can finish brick stitch designs. That's what I love about it. Yeah, so there they are. There they are. They're all set. And
Look at them. They're all
I'm going to
perfect.
send them.
Thank you. Oh, I love them. They're so fun, so colorful for summer, festive.
They're ready to go. Yeah. These are going to be ones that I wear a lot, I feel like. And then if you like this
Yes.
other one, this one is done the same way practically. It's just the brick stitch was on its side instead of, you just add one bead instead of two. Yeah.
So you're adding
I can show you really quick on that other one
yeah,
if we're
could you?
still okay on time. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
we got 11 minutes, so I think we
we
can.
do. Okay. I'm going to just move those really quick. So I'll just work back on this one to show it really quick. Let me grab some of those
Okay,
around.
yeah. Which goes back to what you were saying. Instead of going in a circle with the eye has that loop at the top, you
Yeah,
would just go backwards anyway. Like
exactly. Yeah.
turning.
So like from where we are here, let's pretend it went all the way around, but we have a loop. maybe. You would just need to turn, see how we were working clockwise around?
Mm-hmm.
You would just turn and work back this way.
Yeah.
And that's all you got to do. And
that
it's
would make
new
sense.
steps after that. The only difference between the colorful one and this soothing green one is I didn't have the beads on their side. I have them running that way.
Mm-hmm.
And the way
Yes.
to do that for the first part is you remember how we picked up 3 beads to start when we were doing this one?
Oh, yes. You had a seed bead and then the round and the seed bead,
the
right?
seed bead. Yes. And then we went under the thread bridge, came up through that. And then we were doing round seed bead, round seed bead.
Yeah.
Round. On one of these, if you like the way this looks, you'll start with your seed bead and then the first rondelle bead.
Mm-hmm.
And skipping, in this case, I'd skip the same number. It was skipping 2. And bring that down. And then you come up through the rondelle.
Oh, you're coming up through the rondelle instead of a seed bead.
And that's going to make it go flat like that. And then each of the subsequent adds will flatten it even more. So here's the next bead, which is going to be another 11-0 or Delica in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Pull that through. And then come up through just the Delica. So that makes that one go. Then you would just need another rondelle. And in this case, I skipped just one thread bridge because I'm just adding 1 bead this time.
I see. So each one of these are going individually and you're going through each bead. Whereas last time we were adding 2 beads. Started with 3 and then added 2 beads at a time.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And it's both of these methods have their application depending on which bead you're using. And it really liberates you from having to use a certain bead size or a certain bead shape. You can use any bead size and shape you want. You can even make like bigger beads work. I've seen people put 6mm gemstones on. I mean, there's so much.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
Those
you just
are
keep
big.
that.
Lovely.
And then the only other thing that was like kind of stretch of a creative was I found that this was just a choice made because of the size of the rondelles, and I couldn't get it to center.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be so the tassel would be centered. So I'm like, what do I have that's a little bit less wide than the rondelle that would sit? And then the cubes just jumped out at me from the mix here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're in here.
And we could still get if you missed out on the exotic food kit altogether, that little bead mix is still available on softflexcompany.com. There's a few left, and that's where you got the tassels, those little cubes, and those little decorative beads at the top, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then the rondelles themselves were in the exotic blooms kit. They came separately.
Yeah, and I think we have some extra rondelles for sale.
You do? Okay. Mm-hmm. The kit came with 2. It came with these beautiful milky, and it came with these clear peridot looking ones. I haven't even used these yet, so I have more earrings to make. Oh, and there was enough. So actually, I wanted to share that too, just in case anyone is wondering. Yes. Another reason I switched to the cube is so I would have exactly enough left to make my second earring with just 1 strand.
Oh, nice.
A little bonus there.
Yeah, so that is a good point. If you are not sure if you have enough, you need to divide them in half. So you only use half of it for your 1 earring and see what else you need to use.
These had 20 beads on them, and I used 10 on each earring. So it ended up working out really well.
Nice.
Yeah, this was so fun. I had a really good time making these. Thank you for the inspiration. Sometimes you just need to put new beads on the mat, and things come to life.
That's the fun part of our design kits is like it's beads sometimes you're not familiar with, and it triggers new ways to think and different perspective. And
exactly. Yeah. Just
and then you make really pretty earrings.
You make gorgeous things, right? And you make more and more and more.
Yeah. So If you haven't noticed already, we have a giveaway. Danielle is going to give you, is going to put a cute little set of findings and some beads together to mail off. So if you haven't already, do hashtag Danielle and get your name. You need to be present when we draw, and we're going to draw in just a minute. Let's see how many people. Oh, come on. We can do it. We got 61 entries. Are you in there? Get in there. Hashtag Danielle. Make sure you're in because we are going to get that drawing go. Oh, look at that. We got a couple more. All right. Are we ready?
Yeah.
I think we're, oh, one more. There you go. I got to remember how to share screen though. I could do this.
You got this.
I got that. There it is. There it is. All right. 3. Oh, another one. Okay, we're good. Oh. Anyone else? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to count to 10 or count backwards from 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Woohoo! Who's going to be our lucky winner? Miller, congratulations. If you are here, please in the comments, let us know that you are here. We're going to have you email us at info@softflexcompany.com, your shipping address and all that fun stuff. And then we will get the fun little packet that Danielle has put together. She's here. Yay! Congratulations. All right, we do not need to. Oh, there we go. Thank you for joining me today. And thank you all and accommodating the time change so that I could host with you because it was such a joy. We're sending Sarah and her family lots of love. Go on to softflexcompany.com and check out the Ayler Family Hospice Relief bundle that you can either purchase, which I think that we might have sold out and we may have to like already so you can always just directly donate to their GoFundMe. And stay tuned. We might be doing some other fun things with them. But anything you would like to share with Danielle Wickes' jewelry.com? That anything that's coming up?
Yeah, actually, I have a live this weekend on the 25th with Deb Floros. We're gonna do
fun.
Yeah, we're just gonna have a beading party. So, I've been trying to do a little more of those, just actually just because I really enjoy them. They're fun for me. So. It's just like having a friend over to bead with you. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's we love to bead together. I think that's why I love watching lives as much as I like doing them, because it's always fun to have somebody beading together.
Exactly.
And she's lovely, and you're lovely. I cannot wait to see what you make with that.
We always have so much fun. So yeah, definitely. If you're free, tune in on the 25th. It's I think I should know the time. It's either at 1 or 3 is usually when we do those. 1 or 3, I think it is.
Hey, we could go check that out on your
Facebook
page and on your YouTube.
And on Facebook as well.
Wonderful. Lovely. On both and on your website, I'm sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was such a fun earring. I love them. I can't wait to do one myself because I do have a couple of those findings hanging out and a few of those extra beads from my kit. And then we could be matching friends.
We could be earring matching. Yes. Perfect.
Yeah, love it. Thank you everyone for joining us. Until next time. I'm going to be on with Spill the Beads Friday, 9:30 a.m., 12 5:30 p.m. Hopefully you can join me. I'm going to be using the new boho flower beads and making a little bouquet of flowers and turning it into a magnet.
Oh, that's
I've
cool.
been on this like kick of making things that are not jewelry lately. I don't know why. So I
Me
made
too.
a coaster. I'm making,
That's
I'm like,
neat.
I'm going to make a magnet. So,
No, that's awesome to
and
show
then,
how you can use beads, and because we all have a lot of jewelry at this point, right? So
yes.
not that there's
I
ever
mean,
such a thing.
can't have too much, but still, there's also people that you want to make gifts for that don't wear
They
jewelry.
don't wear
So it's
jewelry,
always nice.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So there's that too. So you can join me for that. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Share if you make one just like with Danielle's technique, please share on our BIB Facebook group. Because we love seeing, it's always so fun to see what other people make with the things that we share. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye. See you next time.